Hello everybody, welcome to tonight's stream. You guys can see we got a pretty full desk and I've got a lot of empty printers downstairs, so we are going to probably look at doing some slicing to get at least my CR10s up on new jobs because, yeah, took a vacation and now it's time to get back to work. I've got a bunch of painting on my desk, I got all kinds of stuff to do, so... And, you know, if you haven't gone out there, there's a survey out there on YouTube that we posted under our posts that is asking about sci-fi stuff that may determine kind of some of the direction the stream goes tonight. So, definitely get out there and get your vote in there on what... Well, let's bring this over here. What you might be interested in, because that might dictate which way we go with some of the creation here tonight. So... all kinds of fun things going on. Like I said, I got a lot of painting in front of me. I finally got started working on Boba Fett's Slave 1 here, and it's getting ready to... got some good underlay colors, but now it's time to start pulling in the other colors and work on some other stuff with it. So all kinds of fun stuff. And I'm going to drop some hints tonight talking about some of the new printers that we've seen come out that might be good ones to kind of hit your print list. So there's kind of a lot going on in the printing world right now, both in FDM and in resin. And I think it's one of those things to kind of keep in mind what's going on, the changes that are growing. But also, we'll take a look at the CR30 tonight and take a look about getting it. We'll give it a new job. Because... I did take mine vertical. We printed. It worked. Key piece there. It worked. That's where we got this wonderful Batwing. Came out really, really well. Only a little bit of minor flaw in it. With a bit of a gap forming over here on the wing. But, you know, we have filler for that. So, it's not a huge problem. This is Inland Yellow PLA. And a little bit to clean up here. I'm noticing my first layer, when it first starts to print onto the belt, it's kind of missing a little bit. So, but taking that printer and mounting it on the wall vertically did a bunch of cool stuff. One, the kind of the cool thing and the downfall thing is the nozzle is exactly 6 feet from the floor. So with that, right there, I can print a 6 foot long model safely and not run out of space. So that does kind of give us a limitation, but honestly, how many swords and all that stuff is 6 foot long? Not many. So it's not really a huge limitation, but it did kind of open a door that can be a lot of fun. And with that door being opened up, basically, we're kind of start seeing some different stuff being printed on the channel, I think. I do plan on going for my first sword here before too long. My wife has made a few requests, so I'm going to probably take that one on first. But just the ability to print long, solid prints is actually kind of a really cool thing when you think about it. And that's where the CR30 can come into really big play with that long prints. So we're definitely going to take a look at that. I'm probably going to start off with some painting here, kind of hopefully let people join into the feed here and kind of just get started with the night. So you guys can see there's some variable parts all over my desk here. Kind of fix my lighting here a little bit. It's a little off tonight. Pull the camera down. There we go. We're a little off tonight, but hey, it's just a thing, right? So, just to start off, these are not 3D prints. These are part of a model. They're part of the Necron Tesseract. I've just been trying to get base coats on them, start getting them into paint, and you guys can see it is a rather big model. And unfortunately, the colors that I need to come in with, I can't really come in with an airbrush, so it's all down to hand painting at this point. Then we've got a lot of these guys here too that are part of my Warhammer army. I put these guys into a brown primer. A lot of their armor is gold. So what I have learned with painting like gold and different things like that is come in with a brown. A really good guy taught me this one. His name's Joe Hudson. He's he's magnificent painter of miniatures. I mean, this guy just makes them look real. He showed me this, that if you're going with a gold or something, come in with a tan or a brown underneath. And even coming in over this with a brass will give it a gold sheen, which is kind of cool. And can kind of help out with the color scheme. So I've got a ton of these because I had the Dominion box that I need to just start getting some paint down on. So I may work on some of those here after a while. And of course, I will definitely probably be working on Boba Fett here. And getting Boba Fett, get some color into this one. So I did the green. I probably will come across with the black silver. Probably use corn red to come in on the back piece here to start giving the color to it. And then we'll start lightening up this military green that I did for the base color. But you know, it's just kind of one of those things. It's all kind of things that you've got to think about when you're painting. Am I going for ultra realistic here? Nah, not really. I'm going to get close enough to where I'm happy with it. And even where the lines here, these are print lines that didn't fill properly. I'm using those to my advantage. Those are going to be wear and tear marks in the paint. So even those can be used to your advantage in this. So actually, I'm just going to go ahead and start working on his canopy here. I don't need the wet palette yet. Now, definitely leave in the comments down below, or just comment. Hit me up here in the chat. Would a tutorial on how to use your wet palette be useful? If so, I will gladly do one, because I use a wet palette more than I am right now. But just how to take care of your wet palette, different things like that. If you guys would find that interesting, definitely let me know. So as we go later into the stream here, I plan on talking about getting over to the 3D printing side and getting some stuff sliced and getting this guy rolling, because I got a lot of empty, hungry printers downstairs. Whoops. Wait your turn. I'll get to you eventually. So, has anybody seen any of the top news about 3D printers out there? Because I can tell you yesterday a big release was done by Anycubic in the resin world. And of course, there's been changes happening all across the printers. The Ender 3 has a new brother that is coming, the Ender 3 S1. Alec, you're wanting the wet palette tutorial eventually? Okay, definitely. I will definitely create one. Wet palettes are really good for preserving your paint. I'm just trying to pull the color of the canopy out. I don't want to go just black. That's no fun. That's the easy way to do it. That's why I love this dark silver, because it keeps a sheen without having to just go black. And I'm probably going to have to give 2 coats here, just because of the 3D print, but it's definitely going to offset the green. And when we start bringing in like the corn red on the back and stuff like that, it's really going to help out the color. So Alec, how are you doing tonight? Hopefully everybody's doing okay tonight. I know a lot going on in the world. Everybody's got busy schedules. I know it's been hectic around here. But you got to take time to do the things you enjoy. And that's what I'm doing right now is I am getting some painting in because that's all part of the hobby. All part of the hobby. So just kind of working in my lines here. Trying to get them as fine and as straight as I can without too much hubbub. But even just adding one color can definitely make that stand out. And this is just the start. So depending on how I base this, which I do plan on, I need to go out in my garage and cut a piece of lumber and start working on the base for this. I need to cut several bases, to be honest, because I've got a Star Trek diorama I'm going to start working on. Oh, nice, man. Yeah, Fusion 360 is awesome. It is a good way to start out with the power tools, I would call it. Another tool you might try if Fusion's feeling a bit overwhelming is another tool made by Tinkercad that's free. It's called it's called Tinkercad, made by AutoCAD. It's a great way to kind of get your feet wet too. Fusion 360 is kind of a, how would I call Fusion 360? Fusion 360 is like a jackhammer to the hammer that is Tinkercad. So, but all of them are really cool to work with, and Fusion 360 is really awesome too because for the personal use, you get it for free, which is great. It is a really good tool. So awesome to see you getting into that. I've been contemplating some tutorials on that, but I'll be honest with you, I'm not that big on it. I do a lot of stuff in Blender, to be honest. And of course, Mesh Mixer is one of my favorites. I do a lot more in there than I probably should, but it's a good tool. And it's not painting unless you get paint on you. No problem, Alec. Anything to kind of help out getting into the hobby here is what we're out to do. So, all right. Starting to get some color on it, which is what we want to see. And for that black silver, I love the light's kind of hurting me here, but the sheen that it comes out with is really nice. Instead of going with like a gloss black, there's kind of that silver glacious look. If I come back with like a gloss varnish over the whole model, it's just going to pop, which is going to be really nice. I'll probably come back with some white, just kind of like the light is hitting it, but that won't be tonight because we're not that far along. So next, I'm going to come back in with some corn red and start coming along these back panels to really start pulling some color into it. So, looking at the survey that I put out, if you guys haven't gone and voted, the post is out there from the channel. I asked, basically, what's your favorite sci-fi? We've had 12 people vote back so far. Star Trek and Star Wars are neck and neck, with 42% of the vote each, and then other has been write-in comments, which Battlestar Galactica made the write-in because I completely forgot about Battlestar Galactica. How dare I do that? But also Eureka, which I don't think I've seen but maybe one or two episodes, or even really given the show thought that it could be part of this. So I'm gonna have to go back and give the show some love to figure out what could be 3D printed from Eureka. So definitely got some learning stuff for me to do. So I remember right, Eureka had, I believe it was Trip from Star Trek Enterprise was one of the main characters. Or it may not have been him, I don't know. That's how little I know about that show. And I will have to go watch and learn. So I got something new on my TV watch list right now. What have you guys been watching? The reason why I chose Corn Red, it has a bit of maroon to it. Hey Mike, how's it going? That I like. That kind of pulls, with these other colors, it's going to darken. And I like that. I like that darken approach that it gives. Because eventually I'm going to come back wet and weather this. I just messed up right there, but that's not a big party foul yet. Because I'm not working on that trim line of detail yet. But I will be soon. So what were your guys' opinion when Disney decided to just rename this to a fire spray gunship? Were you like me, just overly disappointed and disgusted that they couldn't just leave it Slave One? You had to contradict every book in the Star Wars universe, even the technical manual that states that this is Slave One. I just kind of giggled. But if you're just joining us, here in a bit, we're going to start doing some slicing. I need to get some new models started and start really kind of get my printers back to work after my vacation here. So, and by slicing, I mean we're going to be looking at FDM. We could do 1 or 2 resin prints. I haven't started. My resin printers are empty right now too. So I got a lot of empty bandwidth down there to get started on. But you can see it's kind of, as it dries, it's kind of going to a more maroon instead of a red, which is kind of cool. So I'm just going to paint some of this. I'm not going to paint it all because you guys just don't want to sit here and probably watch me paint this all tonight. And get on to the slicing. Yeah, Mike, I don't know. That's like going into Star Trek and telling me the Enterprise is not the Enterprise. Which originally, I'll give you a little fun fact here, it wasn't supposed to be the Enterprise. It was supposed to be the Yorktown. But, yeah. That's not what Star Trek got named. So, kind of a fun little fact right there. Throw it out there to you. But all in all, it's just kind of a fun and go. I haven't watched Watchmen yet. I've been enjoying The Marvelous Miss Maisel. It's a show my wife found, and we've been watching that one. So, kind of a different show. Of course, I've been watching Star Trek Picard. The new episodes to drop, because I want to see where this is going. Q's being a total badass. So just kind of my world's kind of been orbiting between Q. I did watch the first episode of Halo. If you have not watched it, go watch it because I will talk about it more next week. That's all I'm going to say about it right now. You need to go watch it so you can either agree or disagree with some of my comments next week. in regard to that show. So I'm going to give that free pass because I don't want to judge it on one episode. Now, if you're a Halo lore junkie, you're going to hate it. Because they changed a ton of stuff compared to the games and the books, and we're not following the games. So kind of just keep that in mind if you watch it. Because something happens in there that for 20 some odd years has not happened. And in the first episode they do it. So yeah. But Picard, definitely a dark tone. I'm kind of loving that, we're in a dark universe. Q's gone crazy, which is awesome. And Two-A-Day is back. Oh, welcome back, buddy. Hopefully your vacay was a good one. Glad to see you back. Alec, the stroke directions? No, not really. All honesty, I have found with FDM, this is FDM models, going with the print line tends to help. So like here, you saw me going across. That's just because I'm trying to get an edge. But here, I'm actually going with the direction of the print line to kind of get better fill of that print line. So, and right now, I'm just base coating. And what I'll do next is I'm going to scar it up. Because it looks like it's been beaten up, at least where we are now. And I've got to come back with several other base colors because I got to tone this green down for one. It's just that green because that's where it's sprayed all over, unfortunately for me. But you can see as that starts to dry, it becomes a very deep reddish maroon. It goes on like blood. Yeah, the punk on the bus, that was totally a great callback to Star Trek 4. I saw that and I heard the song and I'm like, oh. I was loving it. So, but I will say my only complaint about Picard is speed it up. I want to see more. I want to see this storyline conclusion faster. I will say I am enjoying season 2 of Picard way better than I did, honestly, season 4 of Discovery. Season 4 of Discovery was kind of meh to me. So, kind of a little bit of a bummer, but they're trying a new direction with it, which was good. I was actually kind of happy to see the new direction, but it just kind of was really slow. Didn't mean I didn't, like it, but it's still growing on being we're ahead of all other Star Treks, in my opinion. So it's kind of a bummer. Kind of a bummer. All right. You guys can definitely tell a little bit of color can make a model go a long way. So, I've never seen Arrival, so I will have to go take a look at it. Wonder Fury 85, you haven't missed much yet because I've just been painting on a model, but we got I want to get some slicing going on. Ah, 2 days. So sorry to hear that, man. A lot of companies are tanking like that right now. Sorry to hear that, because I know how that goes. Because when COVID started, I lost my job. 3 months into the pandemic, I lost my job. And I got lucky to find, during the pandemic, to find a really good job that I do during the day. Hopefully career shopping won't take too long. At least you've got hopefully about 60 days still of work before you lose income. Because yeah, that's not cool, man. That's gonna be hard to work around. I feel you on that one. That's never good. I haven't used Flex Seal on mine. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll mix resin with talc and paint on to give a good flat layer for sanding. Also, one other thing I do is there is a filler primer spray paint from Rust-Oleum that works really well if you've got a lot of lines and stuff that you want to cover up, like big projects. I'll use it on like helmets and stuff like that, but I've never used Flex Seal in that regard. I'm gonna make a note of that. Next time I'm out shopping, maybe we'll get some and we'll try it live. Maybe we'll try that here in a week or two. Because I've never tried that. I usually go the more traditional with the Vallejo filler, the Tamiya filler, especially for small lines. Painting on the resin and curing it to give smoothness to line issues. But and filler primer, of course, I'd use Bondo. I've had to use that on several helmets that I've done in pieces. But I've never used the Flex Seal before, so that's definitely something to look at. Tristan, I'll definitely give that a go. Now, when you're having this problem, when you're asking that, so the spray can filler, I may do 2 or 3 coats because one, it's a primer at the same time, and I may do 2 or 3 coats of it, but I'll also do a wet sanding in between the coats to kind of see how well it's filling in. So there is kind of a judgment there. So there's kind of just a judgment of how smooth you want it, how much work you're willing to put in to get it smooth. The Rust-Oleum spray primer is I use it as a shortcut, especially when I don't want to get the Bondo out, because if you've watched this channel at all on any of these live streams, I hate sanding. I bloody hate it. And I kind of try to avoid, I try to do my prints in ways that I won't need to sand. And guys, I just want to get this upper piece. Then we'll move on to talking about models. And if you haven't, there was a post out there for the live stream that also contained a survey of some science fiction shows and stuff to talk about, because I want to get your guys' input on what we're going to do next, what prints I'm going to look at next, because I've got 8 hungry printers downstairs that have no work to do, and we're all going to work on it tonight. So that's coming up as soon as I have this painted. So the Ender 2 Pro was sent to me to demo, which is why I'm using it. The Ender 3 was where I started with the Ender my real first 3D printer was the Ender 3. I have two Ender 3s. I have an Ender 3 Pro and an Ender 3 V2 downstairs in my shop. But Mike, if you're going to go for something Ender 3 size, seriously look at the Focus Odin 5. You're going to get a lot of the bells and whistles you don't get on the Ender. Yes, you're going to spend a little bit more. But you're going to get a direct drive extruder. You're going to get the double Z-Rod already attached. You're going to have almost 90% of the upgrades I recommend for the Ender 3 on the Odin already installed when you purchase it. And the cool thing about the Odin, it takes me about 45 minutes to put an Ender 3 together and start using it. Odin, you're done in 15 minutes. You're up printing. And you undo the 4 bolts and it's hinged. You can fold it up and put it away. So it's great for people that don't have a lot of area to do 3D printing. It's a great little shop printer for when you need it. And no, I'm not being paid by Odin to say that. This is just actual experience. The Odin has just wowed me in so many directions. I love the direct drive extruder because you get more filament choices. You get just more options to print with. So definitely, it's kind of one of those things. Definitely look at that Focus Odin 5 if you're thinking about it. Now, if you're wanting to get into the printing solid piece helmets and stuff, you really need to hop up to the CR10s because that's what I use to do mine. I love the CR10. There are 4 of them. Technically 5 of them in my shop if you include the CR10 Max, which is larger than the others. The CR series from Creality is a really good line. Honestly, if I had to go back and do it again, it would be an Odin or a CR. Or a CR10. Because, honestly, I don't use my Enders as much as I should. I have spec'd them out with Noctua fans. I've done the upgrades. They've got Fang hot ends. They got full metal Micro Swiss hot ends on my Ender 3s. And I still wind up using my Odin more. And my CRs. So my Enders have kind of hit the demotion level of filament. They make small parts, filament, roll. They're basically spool finishers for me in my shop. Which people can boo, hiss me for that, but I'm being honest. I don't use them as much as I should, but the CRs, when I can print large, because when I'm doing FDM, I'm printing large, and the CRs are a bigger build plate, same build. They just do more for me. So that's kind of my honest answer there. Now these models right here, these are from a model kit. It's called the Necron Tesseract from Warhammer. So those are actually 4 pieces of the outer shell that will connect to the center base. They are not 3D printed. So those are authentic Warhammer kits that I'm trying to finish up. And there's just a lot of painting. Because not only do you have this ton of detail on the outside, you turn it around and there's like little droids, little scarab bugs crawling around all over the inside of this that also have to be painted into bronze and all those other colors. So I have a ton I still have to paint on that one, on those. So I've just been trying to kind of finish them up because I want to get started on some other model kits that are for a different purpose. So, because I want to start doing, I've got a ton of model kits in the house too that I want to start working on, and the goal, and probably what I'll do, is either I'm going to sell them or I'm going to launch a second channel where I just do model kits and talk about painting and assembly and different things like that. So direct drive versus the Bowden tube extruder. Bowden tube extruders Well, let's be honest. Even on the CR10 V3 using the Titan Direct Drive, there is still Bowden tube involved. It's just very short. Unlike the Odin that has no Bowden tube. It goes straight into the nozzle. It depends on what you're doing, Wanna Fury. What do you want to print? Are you wanting to print... When you do the Bowden tube, you're limiting yourself. You're cutting out about half the filaments you can use. And so you won't be able to use flexible, even though some people say, yeah, you can do it. Good luck, is what I say. Because basically, every time I've wanted to use nylon or TPU, it just hasn't worked unless I've used a direct drive. So it goes back to saying what you're printing. My Odin is direct drive. It comes direct drive. So I basically have 7 or 8 filament types immediately available for that machine that it can do. TPU, carbon fiber. There's a lot that machine can do right out the gate. Where Bowden tube, I'm pretty well locked into about 4 filament types. So basically, again, the question is, what are you planning to do? I mean, if you plan on just printing PLA and only PLA, Bowden tube is fine. It's if you want that TPU and the nylon and stuff like that, if you want those additional type materials, then yes, I would go direct drive. That's just for me. So just kind of it's a preference of what you're going to do, and that's what I recommend when you're thinking about printers. And it's one of those things I love that you guys come on here and ask me these questions, because depending on what you're doing is depending on what you're going to need and what you're going to buy. You know, if you're just wanting to make helmets every day, all day, get yourself a CR10 V2 and call it good and have fun. But if you're wanting to make stress balls and molds and stuff with the silicon TPU, okay, you need the direct drive. You may want to consider a CR10 V3, which comes with the Titan direct drive, or you may want to consider the Odin, depending on size that you plan on printing. Got a little bit up here I need to touch up. So there's no right or wrong answer. There is what you're going to be doing. It comes down to your answer. And we're going to pause right there and let that red kind of dry into it before we start working on some of the other colors. I'll clean my brush out. Dry my brush out, get my point back in it. And as always, a good thing to do, close up your paints. Make sure they're good and closed. All right. Because eventually, so if you guys saw the short out there, and that this was done on the CR30 in one print on the conveyor belt. First print I did with it vertical, and it came out fantastic. There's a little bit of cleanup to do. There's one side of the wing got a little bit of a gap, but we'll get that solved. We'll get that worked out. So that assembly to come at another time, because I'm going to try to decide if I want to keep how much of that yellow I want to keep. So I want to keep the yellow. I'm gonna take a look at that. All right. So you got a CR10 and Ender 3 V2. Yeah, the 3. Honestly, you probably will have. Which CR10 is it? Is it just the straight CR10, or is it like the CR10 V2? Because the V2, switching it out to a direct drive, Titan direct drive, you just got to update the firmware after you install the extruder. So that's why I kind of asked the question. Hopefully I'm answering everybody's questions. I'm trying to make sure I catch everybody. So, but yeah, the Flex Seal, ironically, you bring up the Flex Seal, you got me curious because I'm wondering how sandable the Flex Seal is, because that's going to be a big determiner of if it works. And I just happen to have a Boba Fett helmet downstairs that keeps showing up in all my videos unpainted. No, we're going to get to that one here probably pretty soon. So, the original. It's going to depend on which one you do. You're going to want to definitely do your research. Because I have a CR10 original as well. But I have the Micro Swiss hot end in it. And I'm not sure which direct drive I would use for it, to be honest with you, because there is firmware changes and you got to do a whole bunch of recalculation. Your E-steps will have to be recalculated. Your motion, your speeds will have to be kind of judged and redone as well, because you're putting a lot of weight. You're moving a lot of weight over to that carriage with that direct drive extruder. So that's all kind of stuff to keep in mind. And just the cost of a direct drive extruder. I think the Titan now costs what, $90 to get the Titan extruder. At that point, I might as well invest another $100 and just buy an Odin. And because if you watch their sales, I think earlier this week an Odin was like $215, where it's normally $360. So it's definitely one of those things. Kind of keep an eye on Amazon too. I'm not against getting a can and trying it on a test print. So, and actually, I have a Mandalorian helmet that I broke, sadly, right at the visor line here. It cracked. Honestly, there's not enough infill in the helmet. It's part of the reason why I did that. My layer walls were a bit thin. But I'm kind of curious about that Flex Seal. So we may toy with that and that helmet. So probably won't do it on Boba's, but Boba will do safely, because we want to paint Boba here. So, all right. So I am going to go check. I'm going to refresh the results. Hopefully, if you guys haven't gotten out there, get out there and vote on that poll. We're still at 12 votes, and Star Trek and Star Wars is tied. And then we got Battlestar as a write-in and Eureka as a write-in. The top two are tied. That makes it hard to go pick, guys. What models to do here? It's a Focus is the name of the brand. Fokos Odin 5 Odin. Odin 5 F3. It's out on Amazon. They have really good deals. If you guys can go down in the description, and there is an affiliate link out there to it. If you guys can use those, I'd really appreciate it. That money from Amazon does help out the channel, help me keep coming up with material and things to keep printing and keep talking to you guys about. So, okay. And I'm going to clear a few warning messages. The survey, I'm asking the question is, what's the favorite sci-fi? And the four that I asked about were Star Trek, Star Wars, Warhammer 40K, Space Above and Beyond, and write-ins. You had a choice of other. So it's kind of one of those things. I was kind of polling to kind of where do I want to take my focus on, what do I want to start building? Because like I said, my printers have been empty for days. And now granted, right before I left, I did print something that I'm not ready to bring on here yet. As far as working on it, I'm not ready to bring it in here. But I have been busy. I finished this before I left. And the survey, if you go to your YouTube app, you should see posts. Or if you go to my channel page, there should be a community where there'll be posts underneath it. You guys can go out there and vote. But you guys can see I've been working on Space Above and Beyond, the Saratoga. I've still got a lot of cleanup down here to do. I got a lot of support still to pop out, and I got some holes to finish working on. But I took that little one, I blew it way up because I was like, that kind of sucks. And then I have used the resin printer to come back along with the guns to really kind of step her up, give some really good fine detail to the guns. And I've got some of the hammerheads and the transports. So once I finish up with the landing bays over here and that, I'll try to basically kind of have it in a diorama to with some of its resin printed minis to go with her. So definitely a big work in progress. This was a lot of printing right here, I'll tell you that right now. But more on this one to come. You guys saw me do a little one. Well, that's not how we do this channel, is it? The funny part is I probably could have gone bigger, but this is about as big as we're gonna go. And once I figure out the scale, I will I'll get the resin prints for the smaller craft to go with her sorted out. So definitely been doing some fun stuff, some new stuff, and all kinds of things. So pardon me, guys. It is that season of the year here in Missouri where spring is out to murder me. So if I cough or if I sound nasal, it's allergies. Sorry, guys. Yeah, that's the name of the game. Really happy to see a lot of you guys back. Not many people showed up last week. So, but all in all, actually, do this real quick since it was asked, if I can reach it. So the Tesseract model I'm talking about, here's the centerpiece that I still have to do a ton of painting on. And basically, each piece of this will connect onto this. Something's gotten turned. But basically, when it's done, this is a rather large 4K model, but basically all four pieces will be connected into here, and yeah, anything that comes along across the mighty Necrons will be annihilated as this thing comes across the battlefield. So it is definitely still very much a work in progress as I paint these shells and start getting in here. The magnifying eyewear will come out to start getting all the little individual bugs crawling around inside, the little nanites. And you can see with this piece, I'm just now coming in with the lead belchers to start popping out the silver surfaces, and I'll start popping out the brass surfaces before too long. And one thing too, I want to take and stop for a minute here too, because I want to talk about eSun. So guys, these guys have been really awesome. eSun has started helping us out with materials for the channel. So I want to make sure, definitely go check out their links down in the description below. eSun Tough Resin, I love this stuff. It is sturdy. It is a sturdy resin, a lot harder than your standard photopolymer resin. But all in all, looks really good too. Came out really well. Unfortunately, the black. But now I have gray. They sent me a different color this time, and I got some of their standard resin. But go check those guys out if you want to consider the resin. The resin is a good price. It's good quality. I have lots of luck when I print with their resin. And you guys know I'm using 5 different resin printers. So basically I can put this in almost any printer and it works great. So definitely want to give thanks to them for helping out with materials, and definitely go check them out, especially if you're getting more and more into 3D printing. Definitely go check them out and give them some love. So, all right. Check it one more time. And then I'm going to ask the question here. You guys remember the series Captain Power and the Soldiers of the Future? I don't know that one. Oh, someone found it and sent Star Trek into the lead. Ooh. Well, I guess I know where we're going tonight. We're going more to Star Trek land. So, I'm going to be one quick second because I want to run this by you guys. Actually, this is an idea. I could really use your help here. So 2 streams ago, we took failed prints and started taking them to battle damage. Well, I got several comments that said I should make a diorama. Well, I just happened to have, sitting downstairs, this nice big 3D printed Romulan warbird. Just sitting down there, doing nothing. I printed it with the inland green. So I'm thinking about making a stand with the ship flying through. You see the destroyed Federation starships. Like it's just like I pwned these 2 on flying through the debris. Kind of just having it that way, and trying to figure out how to use like thin ways to have. Hey Paul, how's it going? Figure out thin ways to have the warbird just look totally badass as it's flying past this destroyed, basically past the prey of the destroyed Federation ships. So, kind of, what are your guys' thoughts on that? Because I think a diorama would look pretty cool, of basically the warbird sitting in ownership of the destroyed ships. So, kind of in the chat, or if you guys are watching this on the replay, leave it down in the comments down below. Let me know. Really kind of curious to hear your thoughts. Then another project that I've been making progress on is a basically 2.5 foot diameter halo ring. So I have done nothing with the internal where the land base would be. What's really cool about this model is this is blank. So I can either paint it or I can come back with a 3D printing pen and actually give it geography, which is kind of cool. And as you can see from the wire, the outer ring here, once plugged in, lights up a nice blue. So it is coming along really, really well. So I actually have a Enterprise D that I could actually do that with too. So I am not limited here. I'm trying to figure out which direction to go with it. I'm still kind of tugged towards the Wolf 359, but kind of one of those things. It's just hard to decide because it's going to be. So usually I do like a single model. I don't do a lot of dioramas, and when I do this one, I really plan to do the building here. The only time I work on it, unless it's something, like wiring, or if I decide to light it up or something like that, that would be, a lot of that would probably be done off camera. And I'm not going to drag you guys through priming a model. That's just, do we need a video on priming models? Because I will totally do one. There's a lot you can do with priming models and different ways to do it. So there's a lot of options there too. But I'm already loving the way this is drying. Going into that deep red. Already loving it. And that dark silver just makes the canopy stick out. Love it. So my initial thought, Mike, you were actually spot on. My initial thought was Wolf 359. So actually, I've got 2 Galaxy classes sitting downstairs right now. Just needing finishing, honestly. I got a moderate sized one. I got a big one sitting down there. Yeah. So, and don't ask, I'm not printing a board cube. Not going to do it. I'm not going to print a box. Although there are some cool models out there for the board cubes. I will fully admit that. But I don't think I'm going to go that route. Then, of course, I've got the these Warhammer figures that just keep itching. But again, that's why I think I'm actually going to launch a second channel that is just model kits. That way, over here is just 3D printing. Over there, we're taking a model kit and having fun with it, and then we'll have videos of the whole process of each build. But can't really decide if I want to launch that or if I want to bring that over here. Because I feel bad because it's not, the models aren't, they're not done through a 3D printer. A lot of them are pressure molded. Don't put it past me, Mike. I may print a cube. I just am resistant. If I can find a nice model, or I may make this model where it's just the panels, I may, I do have a Dominion battleship downstairs. If you guys have been watching the videos, you'll notice that nice purple model sitting on my shelf, doing nothing. There is a big old Dominion battleship sitting there. I hadn't thought about the Dominion. Oh man, that definitely could be fun. So, but Star Trek has pulled into the lead. So, with that said, Star Trek's pulled even more in the lead. We got another vote. Okay. With that said, what starship, other than a board cube, what ship? Now, I have a Klingon Bird of Prey already downstairs. A big one. I've got the Klingon Vorcha downstairs, and I've got a Dideredex, you guys just saw, downstairs already. But what Federation... Let's stick to Federation. What Federation ship would you guys like to see me print? That we can maybe go out here and find a model tonight. Does anybody have any votes? I'm actually going to let you guys kind of push which way I go as I grab something. Because you guys were heard on another video, and my Stargate fans, you were heard. So we got the Daedalus in progress. I still got a lot of seam work, priming. I need a little bit of glue. I got a really loose engine right there, and actually I'm going to use some of my sprue glue real quick. If you guys are curious what I'm saying about sprue glue, this is Tamiya glue mixed with model sprues, but it works really well as a adhesive, because when that dries, that is going to be basically a dried solid piece of plastic. The shuttles, 3D Experimental. Are you talking like the Delta Flyer? What shuttle are we talking about here? We going back the original series era with the Galileo? No Discovery. The original series, the Galileo shuttle. Ooh. You know what? I'm going to prop this so it dries. And guys, if you're curious, next Friday is the Spirit of Fire video. Not this Friday, next Friday. So, 3D Experimentals, you've caught my attention. We're going to move on over here. We're going to change our view. And let's head on out. Let's go look. Let's see what's out there. And we'll just do a simple search. Star Trek shuttle. Let's just go have some fun. Oh wow, there's a lot out here. So the Type 9 shuttlecraft from Voyager. We got the Star Trek shuttle. Oop, there she is. There's the Galileo. 12 pieces. But no full shuttle. But this guy made it, and it looks really good. Wow, some of the comments don't make much sense. So, and guys, if you're out on Thingiverse and you're having a hard time downloading files, here's a great trick. The download all button has been broken for a long time. It really kind of sucks that it's broken. If you go to the file and put basically /zip, it'll download them all for most models. It is a painful thing with that download all button and there being like 40 pieces and trying to download this. I wish Thingiverse would fix it, but so far it's been a few months that this has been going on. That's one way around it, is that /zip. Works really, really well, and it lets me get the parts. So let's go in here and let's take a look. And we're going to extract all. And let's just go take a look at it. Files. Interesting. Okay. And we're going to launch Kira. So I will probably put this on a CR10. I'm going to look. I'm feeling living a little dangerous tonight. Thinking about doing all the pieces at one time on one printer. Normally I would tell you not to do that. But I'm feeling a little frisky. So let's see if we can put all 12 pieces on a CR10 print. Oh my goodness. Why is it auto scaling? Oh no. What just happened? All right. I'm going to select all, scale it all back to 100%. Oh, yeah. Oh dear. We gotta fix this before we can do anything. I don't know why they did this, but they did. Oh dear. I see kind of why they did it, but I'm trying to select all. This did not let me zoom them down. The Curie. Both Star Trek's junk ships. I've tried to do a Jaeger before, and it did not end well. So what I'm going to try to do is get these parts scaled back down. And this one is not wanting to do it. I don't know why. There we go. Oh, I can just hit reset. Sweet. That's going to save a lot of time. So in reality, these parts are itty bitty. And I'm going to rearrange them. So now that I've got them, wait, you're still not right. So now that I got them all back to same size, I'm going to select all models and I'm going to scale them up to 1,000. I'm going to make it 10 times bigger than what it is. And it's going to trip out. And I don't like that, so I'm going to trip it up to 5,000. Okay, I can't do that. Let's go back to 1,500, shall we? Not 15,000. All right, there we go. That's more workable. I'll arrange all the models. There they are on the build plate. All right, now I'm noticing like there's only one warp tube here. Whoops. So there are some parts that got to be duplicated. So I'm going to multiply that piece by 1, multiply this piece by 1, and I'm going to multiply this one by 1. So I got all the warp nacelles, because there's the 2 arms for the warp nacelles. So all in all, this doesn't look too terrible, to be honest with you. There's some definite support, but the support is difficult to play with because I don't want to lose this back detail, so I'm actually going to print her flat, just like that, which is different for me. But this actually looks like a really good model. I don't know why you're being buggy, but let's go through some settings here. I'm going to do a 0.15 using my standard profile. Top surface layers. Up that to 5. I want a good strong top layer. 30% skin overlap. Infill density. 5's, well, I'm going to up that to 10. Just to give it a good build strength. You know, the model I want, Mike, I want the new Stargazer. I want to print the new one. 215, not a bad temperature. Travel, I don't need to change anything there. Support 80% will be fine. I don't really see anywhere I feel like I need to do custom supports. So let's slice this one and get it ready to go. I really would like to see the new Stargazer. So, you know, I haven't done anything like that. The bridge. It almost makes me want to print one and then print Legos. And have Lego Star Trek people running around. Oh, this one's not going to even take too terribly long to print. I'm going to rename this. And we're going to open up that folder. And we're going to go open up a printer. And I am going to throw this one to Printer Alpha. Make sure she's doing what she's supposed to be doing. Yep, there's her camera. She's sitting there nice and quiet, behaving herself. Oh, we can't leave printers quiet. Boop. We're going to copy that over to the printer. We're going to get that started. It's going to go through and take a look at its octolapse so we get time snaps so we can turn this into a video later. Or a short or a reel or anything like that. Remember, guys, if you're new here or you guys haven't, make sure you hit that subscribe button and join us as we go through all this stuff. So the Alpha will start printing here shortly. The Alpha just got new fans in its case, so it's nice and quiet, no longer sitting there going ah at me. So, what other shuttles do we have, though? I'm kind of curious. You got me curious about this now. What else we got out here? Oh, look. You brought up the Discovery A, Mike. There she is. Not a great model, but it's basic. And looks like some people have already redone it. So apparently if you search Star Trek shuttles, you'll find a Discovery model, which is I wouldn't do the motion picture. I'd totally do the TNG warp core. There's a few models out there for it. I just haven't been brave enough to go for it. Oh, look, the Janolan, where we almost lost Scotty. Good times. Looks like we got a conglomerate collection. That's pretty basic models. Those are the only 2 pages. Hey, look, the Ferengi. But for fun, let's go look at warp cores. Because basically, I think it's fun. Oh, that's awesome, Mike. I have looked at this model a couple times. And to do it, I would definitely want to use transparent filament. What's cool about this one is the guy tells you how to do it, how to go do the control, all of that. I just haven't been brave enough to do it. Just haven't been brave enough. I love that they got the NX-01 out here too. But I definitely, I'm just going to have to man up and do it. I'm going to have to pull a Palpatine and go do it. Tristan, thanks for the 10, man. That's awesome. Appreciate it. All right. We got an Oberth in here. Tesla. But I will definitely kind of have to keep that in mind. Huh. Yeah, poor Scotty didn't know. Well, actually, if you read the book Ship of the Line, Scotty was involved in building the E. Which kind of blew my mind a little bit. That Scotty was involved with the ships for a long time. I'm trying to just get some ideas here. Actually, there's one I need to do. And if you guys are out there and you see one, and you see a really awesome model for Frostmourne from World of Warcraft, Arthas Sword, send me an email with a link. I am wanting to print that sword. I've already done a dark saber, so no, I'm not going to do a dark saber. I was actually looking for... She sent it to me in a chat. Hang on. Or I thought she did. Yes. Copy. And hope it pastes over. Oh, here I go. Oops. And there's an example of the download all files, but it does not work. But if I type in zip, it works. Have a good night, Mike. Have a good one. Hopefully we'll see you next week on the stream, and have a good night, man. I appreciate you showing up. All right, so we got that downloaded. Now we're going to see something a little new here. I'm going to extract all. No, I didn't want to copy. we're going to extract that. And we're going to go Creality belt. I already have the program up. And I want to see, one of these should be the sword all in one. Oh look, someone already thought of the CR30. And that's what we're going to work on. We're going to try to get this one. We're going to put this one on the belt printer that we have now mounted vertically. Hopefully this program will not crash. Oh, gross. So we're going to lay that flat. Now the cool thing about the CR30, you guys can see, there's no end. Now for me, unfortunately, there's an end. 6 foot is as long as I can go, because that's when it's going to hit the floor. But we're going to get that laid flat, and then we're going to print the sword in 2 halves and then hear it together and make this for Megan. So, yes, I had to put my glasses on, and I know, guys, we are going long on the stream tonight, so I will probably slice this one, and we will call it quits. Definitely leave down in the comments below if you guys want to see more slicing than model working. Definitely let me know in the comments down below, or let me know here in the chat. If you're out there and about there, definitely say hi on the videos if you just happen to be picking one up. I do not have a padded catch basket yet. Luckily, I haven't had things dropping off on the floor yet, so it hasn't been a huge issue for me yet. But I foresee that problem coming sooner than I would like to. So I'm having to manually lay this on the plate here. I don't like that it's cockeyed like that. The fun of getting things to lay flat in Kira. And we're going to move it. Well, I was going to move it on further down the belt here. We're going to get that 0, 0, 0. We're going to move that on down, and it should go gold. But you guys can see I still have a problem with it being flat. Actually, I'm going to clear the build plate and bring the files back on one at a time because I'm being silly. It's really cool that the model maker saw the CR30 coming though. But I will have, it depends on how I'm printing, because you can use the CR30 as a print tons of pieces really quick. Something like this, long like this, I'm going to see it coming off the print. I'm going to probably be awake when it's coming down the print line, so I'm not overly too worried about that. So now I'm going to get this to 0, and then I'm going to scoot it on down the build plate, just like that. And we're going to send it gold. Now we're going to get the second piece. And actually, I'm going to, oh cool, it actually did see it. I'm going to rotate it. $90. Oh, kind of a hard one to get circled in here. All right, so now I just need to move it down here. All right, so that's one print. I'm not going to do 2 copies. I'm only going to do 1 copy. And the rest of my settings are pretty much my usual standard. So I'm going to prepare this one. What I don't like about this one is I can't do a preview of how it's actually going to print. You don't have that preview option because you have to use a Creality belt, or there is a black belt print software out there that you can do too. So, but these will be printing so long that I'll see them coming off the plate. So this one is for my wife. She is, without her, none of this stuff would be possible. So, when she wants something printed, I tend to go after it. And actually, I probably will print it in the pieces as well using a CR10 or an Ender 3, just to make sure we've got really cool looking prints. So definitely kind of one of those things coming up in the future. So all in all, guys, if you can go out there on that survey, if there's other stuff you want to see printed, definitely leave those comments for me because they are appreciated. Anything you guys can do to kind of push us through is an awesome thing. If you want to help out the channel, please go out to Patreon and become a patron. The YouTube membership is coming. My website is now up. I got to finish the members area, so you guys will have some special privileges, and also, just becoming a member, you will get your name on the end of videos. So definitely kind of keep that in mind. 2 days, I still owe you that, so that is coming. I'm just working on the artwork for the screen that will scroll across. So one of those fun things. And if there is a model that you guys want to see, Mike, I will think about the Borg Spear. I didn't forget about you, so hopefully you're watching some of this playback to catch some more. But I'm going to get this thing over to the site. Oh, it's telling me I can't slice it for some reason, so I will figure that out here next. But if you guys have anything you want to see printed or questions about 3D printing, we didn't even get to talk about printers tonight. I was going to talk about the new Photon Mono M3. Well, maybe we just have to find time for another stream. Maybe. Who knows? But I appreciate everybody that showed up tonight. I'm going to go ahead and end the stream here. If you got questions or comments, definitely let me know. And again, love you guys. Thanks for joining us. And we will see you guys next week on next week's stream.